Hello, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of FPL Affairs, the podcast that discusses our 9-month-long love affair with FPL, including the ins and outs that keep us awake at night. In this video, we review Gameweek 28, what it means for our teams, what lessons we've learned, and what we can take into the blank game week next week. Let's get cracking.
And there's Mo Salah. There goes Haaland. He's on his way again. He's hungry. He's scored. Ice cold precision from Palmer. Oh, Saka! That is a diamond of a goal.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our review of Game Week 28 with me, Matt, aka the FPL Affairs veteran, and alongside me, as always, the FPL Affairs master, that is Jack. How was your week?
Yeah, it was good, mate. I had a bit of a busy weekend working on the house and stuff, but yeah, other than that, decent FPL week, which I'll talk about in a sec. But yeah, it was alright. How was yours?
Tiring, simply because of, I can't remember if I mentioned it last week.
Yeah, you did.
Got a puppy, and then the last 3 mornings he's woken up somewhere between 4 and 5, and then not really been able to settle after. Anyway, we're going off the point. So if I look at Zombie with wrinkling eyes, it's not to do with FPL. That is the reason why. Shall we get cracking with our teams?
Let's have a look.
Let's get cracking. I keep saying cracking. That must show how I'm tired. Forgetting words or repeating myself. That's normally your job. Repeating yourself.
I'm the waffler. Don't waffle. There's not room enough for both of us to waffle.
Right, so going into blank game week 29, we'll start with our game week 28 review. Starting up with Jack, talk us through your team and the impact on your rank. Data figures will show up after. Definitely got lots of symbols next to your players anyway.
Yeah, not really entirely sure what a lot of them are, but yeah, anyway. Yeah, Flecken in goal with 3. Yeah, nice save bonus actually. Was on for a clean sheet as always, but lost it. Trent got 2, disappointing at home to Southampton. Was hoping for quite big things from him, with even if there wasn't a clean sheet, at least an attack and return. Gabriel standing 40 yards away from Bruno Fernandes' free kick means that he lost his clean sheet because the wall was set up in the car park, so that was fun. And Munoz, who was my transfer in this week for Lewis Hall, got me 6, so I was pleased with that. Dango came off the bench for Gakpo, getting me 1. Neto, who was a bit of a hero last week, even though it was against my team, got 3, so he got his clean sheet point. I had Salah as captain. I never really considered Palmer this week, to be honest with you, based on his form versus Salah's form. Both their fixtures were pretty much the same. He was my captain with 30. Palmer obviously missed his penalty, so he only got 1. And Ismail Assar carried on his good form with 11. There was one moment, I think, in that game where Kirkes was one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Munoz. And all he had to do was square it to Sarr. And had that happened, all that had been nice. But he didn't. He took him on and missed. So out of the 3 options of A, squaring it to Sarr, B, scoring himself, or C, missing it, he took the worst one for me, but that is what it is. And then Isak last night, who looked off it, in my opinion, got 2, and Ollie Watkins got 9 with a marginal offside goal for Rodgers, which he assisted, called off. So yeah, all in all, that was 70 points. which was a nice green arrow for me. My old rank was 89k, new rank 66k. Got 69 plus 1 off the bench, giving me 17. My safety score was 61, so I was 9 above that. And it's a change of 25%. I was happy with it. I made the right bench calls, put in Robinson on the bench, who got 0. Mikalenko got 2, so yeah. All in all, good week. Nice green arrow. Let's keep this going.
Who did Dango come on for?
Gakpo.
Pardon?
Gakpo.
Oh yeah, Gakpo.
So there was a moment last week where I was going to take him out for Evan Nilsson for a head, which would have probably been repaid, in all fairness. But I think the difference would have been, by the time you take the -4 into account, something like 3 points. So it's not the end of the world, really. And Gakpo is in the Liverpool squad this evening for PSG, so hopefully he should be coming back for the Everton game in 30 when he plays. So yeah, that's kind of why I kept him. So yeah, good week. Nice green. How did you get
on? Well, I before I change the slide to mine, I never take punts.
Yeah.
I just don't do it. But last week I did.
I'm reminding yourself why you don't.
Much you go on about how rubbish Southampton are.
Yeah.
I was just uncomfortable going into Liverpool at home to Southampton with only 2 Liverpool assets.
Yeah.
And probably everyone under the sun having Trent. So I looked at the number of transfers I've got going forward and what I'd need to do since I had Hall that would have been blanking anyway in 29. I took him out and put in Virgil van Dijk as a punt, simply thinking Liverpool set piece threat, Southampton's poor record at set pieces. And then he sort of cots up, so that definitely didn't help. So that was my one transfer last week, and what hurt the ever more was, had I not have done it, I was 100% playing Nico Williams of Forest. So my team: Pickford in goal with 2, Gabriel with 2, Virgil with 2, Munoz, like yourself, with 6, Palmer with 1, Salah captain 30, Diaz and his assist got me 6 points, and Burmo 2, Wissa 2, Wood 2, Isak 2. So quite a trend of
2s.
7 players with 2 pointers, and Palmer with 1. So, yeah.
3 returns.
Salah return doesn't really count so much, so it was basically Munoz and Diaz. That was it. Giving me a total of 57 points. My safety score was 62, so 5 behind that. On my bench, I had 7 points, which was 1 for Dango, and the other 6 were Nico Williams. So had I not have done the move where it's got Virgil down as the centre of my back 3, it would be Williams. So I'd be 4 points better off. So I'd be pretty much a grey arrow, 1 point behind my safety score. But yeah, my old rank was 315k. I've dropped to just under 342k, which is a drop of 8.38%. And a game week rank, second game week rank running, where I've been about 5.4 million rank in the world. So yes, a nice, charming red arrow going into the blank next week. So yeah, What are your thoughts on that? Other than we've spoke what your thoughts were about my
You
Virgil's
asked me.
decision.
You asked me. You asked me whether to do it, and I said no. Because I had a feeling Southampton would score. And I was telling you, but just before we started recording, that were you doing it for Trent, I would have probably sort of backed it a lot more because of the upside from an attacking point of view.
Mm.
Also, talking to you about your strategy of getting 11 players for Gameweek 29, and also all of the issues with Dango, whether he was going to start or not. It was, to be fair, 9 times out of 10, Liverpool come out of that game with a clean sheet. So, I mean, Will Smallbone scored. So, I mean, if Will Smallbone's the answer and nobody knows what the question is. So, it's just bad luck, that. But at the same time, I don't mean this in a patronising way, but you did really well to stay really patient all throughout 24, 25, 26 without making any sort of rash or bold moves, and you stuck to your plan. And then all of a sudden, 1 week out, you realised you had some transfers and maybe one that you could burn, and you burnt it. And then unfortunately it didn't return. But I mean, if you don't take punts, they don't pay off, do they? Do you know what I mean? Regret what you do, not what you don't do. And it is what it is. It's not ruined your game week 29 plans, is it? It's just made them a little bit different.
And I think the reason what largely put me in the position to actually do that move in a way was a situation with Cunha, which we mentioned last week. I'd planned to do switch Wissa to Cunha. Then Wissa had a good couple of games, so I thought I'll keep him for one more week and get in Cunha for 29 rather than bringing him in sooner. And I lucked out with that because it was just like, okay, I'll keep Wissa, so that saves me a transfer, which I then wasted on Virgil. But I don't regret the decision, and I don't regret the decision I made. I made it for the right reasons. It just didn't pay off on this occasion. So
yeah, it's just bad. That's just hard luck, really, isn't it? I mean, like I said, nine times out of 10, Liverpool keep a clean sheet. You're a genius. It's a great move, and you're happy going into this week. I do think that, regardless, though, with that Dango question mark, I probably wouldn't have done it. I think I said to you at the time, all it takes is one injury this week or something like that, and you're all of a sudden having to take a hit. But I mean, we'll talk about that in the preview video anyway, what you're going to do, because I think you'll figure out a way around it anyway.
Yeah. So to sort of round off our review of 28, and we spoke about things, and we were actually quite close to the point and decisive with the three things for this game week, what we've taken from it in particular. So let's see if we can actually remember what we said, and if we can be as to the point about it. I've definitely got one thing for sure, and I think the others you mentioned I agreed with. So do you want to go with yours?
The first one that I said almost instantly when you asked me about it was don't bench Forest defenders. I think they've just had some really nice clean sheets against difficult teams, which I know is obviously a bit close to home for you, that one. But
that's why I agreed with it right away.
Yeah, I mean, if they're a good defence, they're a good defence. Just back them. They're just back good defenders. If they're a good defence, they're a good defence. I mean, yeah, there's not really much more to say about that. Forest are a very good defence. So regardless of their fixture, if there are other players, obviously the Virgil van Dijk thing is another good defender for another good defender, so that's slightly different. But for example, like Robinson, if you've got an Anthony Robinson in a Fulham defence that's not necessarily keeping many clean sheets at the moment, and you've got a Milenkovic or a Nico Williams or whatever, then just back the better defender, really. in the better defence. And the other thing was sort of penalty takers. A lot of them are in teams based on the fact that they take penalties. But this weekend, obviously, Cole Palmer missing his was a freak accident, to be honest, because it's the first one he's ever missed. But players like Bruno Fernandes, who takes penalties, he obviously scored from a free kick. Cliver got an attack and return. Gibbs White, obviously he's in the penalty taking conversation for Nottingham Forest. I would just sort of try and back penalty takers as and when I can over differentials. For example, I brought in Dango a couple of weeks ago, and I had the money to go to Cliver, and I should have just gone to Cliver. So he's just a penalty taker, and since then I think he's had a penalty, and he's certainly outscored Dango. And that's the other thing with penalty takers, is they're very unlikely to be rotated. Does that make sense? They're just less. You're not going to see Bruno Fernandes being taken out of the Man United team. You're not going to see Cliver get dropped. You're not going to see Palmer get dropped. You're not going to see Salah get dropped. Just penalty takers are A, better assets because they take penalties, and B, less likely to be dropped because they're the team penalty taker.
Yeah.
So yeah, those were probably my two things that I learnt from this week, or like from previous weeks, but sort of hit home this week. And what was yours?
Well, mine, I added the third before Jack decided on a third, and that was basically, now we're really in the nitty gritty aspect of chip season and transfers, especially now this season we can roll up to 5. I think it's now really very much a don't take unnecessary punts like I did with Van Dijk and made that mistake. Yes, I did it for the right reasons, but because of the situation with Dango, which Jack did, not necessarily that specific example, but the situation with Dango effectively means that going into game week 29, I've now got to consider whether to take a hit or not. And had I rolled instead of doing Hall to Van Dijk, then I'd have a spare transfer, free transfer to deal with that. But we'll cover all that in the next video.
Yeah, I mean, hindsight's a wonderful thing, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, that Van Dijk move could have easily paid off. Easily. Like I said, 9 times out of 10, Liverpool keep a clean sheet at home to Southampton. You did it for all the right reasons. It just didn't pay off. That's just the rub. That's why sometimes you love this game and sometimes you hate it. It just sucks when it doesn't pay off. But I mean, hindsight's always right, isn't it? But I mean, going back to what you said about 1 week punts, obviously if you're wild carding soon and you want to take a 1 week punt and dead ending into 29 to wild carding 30, and you want to bring in a load of players with good fixtures for game week 29, but not necessarily 30, which is this is not many actually, because most of the teams have decent fixtures 29 and 30. But anyway, then by all means take 1 week punts, but not if it interferes with your plans that you've already made. I think is sort of like the main thing that's impacted you, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, well, that pretty much wraps up our Game Week 28 review. It's quite a prompt one this week. What with our Idiot's Guide to blank Game Week 29 that we've also recorded. Find out that focuses largely on blank game weeks in general, as well as our own thoughts on free hit examples. So that's in a separate video, and Jack's may or may not be mentioned in the preview video, which we will be recording imminently. But any comments about our week? Did you have any similar issues or problems? Then leave in the comments on Facebook or in the video lot below. If you want to get in touch, other than those comments, x.com FPL Affairs, Facebook group FPL Affairs, YouTube channel at FPL Affairs, and Spotify, blah, 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 written at the bottom of your screen. I really need to actually add the link into the description of the video because people aren't going to copy
and
type
no, they're not going to type that out, are they? No.
But
yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Please like and subscribe as well, please.
Yes, definitely. Subscribe to the channel. We've got lots of plans going forward, particularly with the Idiot's Guide collection.
Yeah, we've got to talk about the cup results and what impact they'll have, future blanks, future doubles, wildcard drafts, bench boost drafts. Yeah, loads of stuff coming.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty much one a week for best part of the season. So we got the international break coming up, which is going to be dead boring, but give us time to
prep.
Yeah. So all that's left to say from me, thanks for watching, and keep your FPL affairs under wraps until the game week 29 deadline. But before that, we'll share you ours. We won't keep our FPL affairs under wraps. We broadcast on YouTube instead.
Yeah. Thank you for watching.
Bye, everybody.